Bo Nix has had one of the most incredible college football career turnarounds we have ever seen. Whether or not he wins the Heisman Trophy this season, he has been one of the best players in the country and is a huge reason for Oregon's success. Bo Nix had so much potential at Auburn, and it all just fell flat. So he transferred to Oregon and has completely rewritten his story and solidified himself as a top quarterback prospect in the 2024 NFL Draft. But first, thank you to Good Chop for sponsoring today's video. We eat a lot of protein, we go to the gym every single day, and Good Chop is just so convenient. It's easy access to high quality products that come contact-free to your front doorstep. You can order fully customizable boxes and go with beef, chicken, seafood, or pork products. This is the best stuff too. Good Chop does really pride itself on sourcing good beef that has no antibiotics or added hormones ever. There are no artificial ingredients. Good Chop only sources the best stuff, and that is why they are so confident in their 100% money back guarantee. Love Good Chop or get your money back. We got our box in, it showed up at the front door. We opened it up and we immediately cooked up some ribeyes for dinner, and they were fantastic. We cooked them up and we sat at our dinner table and ate a nice dinner together like a family. We really are just two young adults figuring out life, so it's super easy to just have meat show up at the front door. We're able to cook it up and get our protein in for the day. So easy. And I'll tell you what, that ribeye was absolutely fantastic. Darren ended up cooking them up, did a great job, and we really enjoyed our dinner. If you like us, you love your meat, need to get your protein in, whatever it is, pork, steak, chicken, seafood, you name it, Good Chop is for you. To me, the best part is it's just so easy for it to just show up at the door. And plus, you really don't need to worry about the quality of the meat that you're getting at like the grocery store. It's awesome. So make sure you go to goodchop.com/YouTube and use code JDProd120, or you can click the link in the caption below to get $120 off across your first 4 boxes today. Again, go to goodchop.com/YouTube, use code JDProd120, or click the link down in the caption below to get $120 off across your first 4 boxes today. Thank you again to Good Chop for sponsoring today's video, and let's get right back to it. Oregon has been on the Mount Rushmore of college football programs this season, and Bo Nix is a huge reason for that. They started the season off with blowout wins over Portland State and Hawaii, with a pretty close win over Texas Tech in between. Now, Texas Tech wasn't too good this season, but they did still make a bowl, so they weren't terrible, I guess. But that left Oregon at 3-0. Bo Nix had already thrown for 8 touchdowns. They looked great. And then there was the Colorado game. Nobody in college football had more eyes on them than Colorado. They had beaten TCU, who was fresh off of making the college football playoff. They beat Nebraska with Matt Rule as their new head coach, and they were coming off of an overtime thriller against rival Colorado State. Everyone was talking about Colorado, and Oregon put them in their place. The Ducks beat the hell out of them. Bo Nix threw for 3 touchdowns, rushed for another. Oregon won 42-6, and they were up 42-0 at the end of the third quarter and essentially took their foot off the pedal. It was not close at all, and suddenly Dan Lanning and the Ducks were getting the respect that they deserved. They beat Stanford 42-6 the next week, and then came one of the best games of this college football season, I think, which was Oregon at Washington. Not only did you have 2 of the best teams in the country, but you also had Bo Nix and Michael Penix, 2 guys that we knew were NFL prospects at the quarterback position, both of which have been heavily talked about in the Heisman race. It was a fantastic game, but ultimately Washington won 30 36-33. And that felt like it had really hurt the Ducks college football playoff chances, but not so fast. It's a long season. Oregon has been perfect since then, with some pretty quality wins too. They've beaten Washington State. They beat Utah, who was number 13 at the time, Cal, USC and Caleb Williams, Arizona State, and Oregon State, who was 16 at the time. All that just to get Oregon back to a rematch against Washington in the Pac-12 championship. Now, Oregon absolutely has some dudes. There's a lot of talent on that roster. You look at wide receiver Troy Franklin and running back Bucky Irving. Those are two guys that have been huge for that offense. We're going to hear about them come the NFL draft, but Bo Nix has been just simply incredible. He is completing 78.5% of his passes for 3,900 yards, 37 touchdowns, and has only thrown 2 interceptions, and he's rushed for another 6 touchdowns. He's having a great year. But honestly, I mean, he was actually pretty good last season too. Nix completed 71.9% of his throws for 3,600 yards, 29 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions, and then rushed for 14 touchdowns. He was really good last season. Now he's just absolutely exploding. It reminds me a little bit of Joe Burrow when he transferred from Ohio State to LSU. He had a solid first year, was pretty good, and then all of a sudden the next year just exploded. And I think that's kind of the same thing going on here once you think of Bo Nix. Last season, the Ducks ended up going 10-3. All of those 3 losses, they came to ranked teams, including one of which was to the eventual national champion Georgia. It was a good team. They lost a lot of defensive pieces more than anything to the draft. The big one was obviously cornerback Christian Gonzalez, but Oregon has just kept on churning. And Dan Lanning is only in his 2nd season at Oregon after he was the defensive coordinator at Georgia, and he's definitely proven to be a slam dunk hire. Oregon hasn't just not missed a beat since Mario Cristobal left, but they've gotten even better. But nobody has had a turnaround quite like Bo Nix. He committed to Auburn as a 4-star recruit and a top dual threat quarterback in the 2019 class. This wasn't just a normal commitment though. His dad, Patrick Nix, played at Auburn and was a standout at quarterback. He finished his career as the school's all-time leader in passing efficiency. The Nix name was already well known at Auburn before Bo Nix was even real, and that led to a lot of hype surrounding Bo Nix. He was named the Tigers starter as a true freshman, and in his first ever game, he actually led Auburn back to beat, ironically, Oregon and Justin Herbert 27-21. Nix was good as a freshman. I mean, he even led Auburn to a win over Alabama in the Iron Bowl 48-45. He was the SEC Freshman of the Year after he passed for 2,500 yards, 16 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions, and rushed for 7 touchdowns. He was 9-4 as a starter at Auburn in 2019. But then, over the next 2 seasons, he was just 12-9. 2020 was that weird COVID season. Nix had 2,400 yards, 12 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions, and rushed for 7 touchdowns. Well, then at the end of the season, Gus Malzahn was fired and Brian Harsin was hired. Now, Harsin did not last very long at Auburn. That was a complete disaster, but Bo Nix said that he was absolutely miserable playing for Brian Harsin. In 2021, Nix had 2,300 yards, 11 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions, and rushed for 4 touchdowns. 1 year under Brian Harsin was enough, and Bo Nix decided to transfer, and the rest is history. Now, Bo Nix has really solidified himself, and he is a real NFL draft prospect. And I think he's going to go pretty high. He's going to be able to cash in big time in the pros, and he's shown to scouts that he's worth taking pretty early. Now, no, I don't think he's Caleb Williams or Drake May, but I do think he's probably that number 3 guy right behind them, which is truly remarkable. Bo Nix just had so much potential in Auburn, and we saw it when he was a true freshman. But then It looked like there was no coming back for him. And here we are, years later, and Bo Nix has Oregon on the cusp of a college football playoff appearance and may win the Heisman Trophy. That's an all-time turnaround right there, and that's what makes college football so special. I absolutely love Bo Nix. I had a great time watching him at Auburn. I've had an even better time watching him at Oregon, and I can't wait to see what he ends up being in the NFL. I think he's a guy that's going to be a first-round pick. I think he's a guy that a bad team is going to take a shot on at quarterback. Again, I don't think he's Caleb Williams or Drake May. We're also talking about two guys that are juniors versus Bo Nix, who is already playing in his 5th year of college football. He's had some extra time to figure things out, obviously, but I think he could absolutely be a good player, and I'm excited to watch him play at the next level, but it ain't over yet. We still got some time to watch Bo Nix at Oregon finish out his college career, and I can't wait. What do you guys think of Bo Nix? Do you think he's somebody you could actually see having success at the pro level? Do you think Oregon can make a bit of a run here, maybe even squeak into the college football playoff, see if they can win a game or even the national championship? I think that's wishful thinking, but this has been one of the best teams in college football down the stretch here. They are a fantastic team with a fantastic coach, fantastic quarterback, and some great weapons. Oregon has been one of the most fun teams to watch this season, in my opinion, and Bo Nix is a big reason for that. So let me know what you think about him down below. If you don't already, subscribe to the channel. Follow us on social media at JDProdNFL. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram at DIIDLAKE, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.